What is going on, everybody? Today's video is about how to deal with pain and how we can change our observation and our perception of it. It's discussing this new idea, at least a new idea to me, that we can approach pain with a curious mind instead of becoming very frazzled and letting it overtake our entire lives. So pain is something that I have dealt with for a long time, from a very early injury in my childhood to high school injuries and so on. It feels like pain has always been around, and I still have it. So I'm not some healed guy who can express all of his wisdom down to you, but I am on a path towards finding these opportunities to heal and these new ways that we can heal. So this approach of curiosity, I think it can be super powerful if we really buy into it. And so the question I want to ask is, were we meant to decay? I think there's a universal law of decay. Things are born and then they die. They slowly grow and then they decay over time. But I think we kind of just accept this pain, this decay in our body as if it has to happen. You become 30 years old, you have low back pain. It's just what happens. 40 and your knees are they're gonna kill. No. ATG and knees over toes guy has exposed me to the idea that that's false. And that's simply a result of people lacking the truth and the correct ways to not feel like that and to not be like that. So yes, there is a law of decay and we will decay over time, but that doesn't mean we have to necessarily break down at an early age. And we don't even have to break down when we're old. The body is a very interesting thing. Something that I'm starting to realize about the body as I more so think about it as an organism, that, we kind of tend to feel like we are outside of the universe and outside of nature. But we too are an organism that functions on the same laws as everything else in this universe. And we're made up of the same stuff as everything else in this universe. And so by abiding to that perspective and that approach, I'm starting to realize that this organism doesn't necessarily want to decay. This organism doesn't want to break down. It doesn't want to be in pain. And that's something that really sent a shock through my system. Okay, the body is essentially always trying to survive. I heard a quote, "Your genes aren't the problem. They've survived this long." Now think about that deeply. The fact that you're here right now, the fact that I'm sitting right here means that the genes, the genetic code that makes me up, has lived since the beginning of time, or however long my ancestors were around. Those genes continue to survive. And so if my genes have made it that far, the odds of them being weak genes and genes that are prone to very bad pains that would make it much less likely that I'd survive doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I think this perspective opened me up to thinking maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's other things in our environment that are causing these things to occur. And so there's a lot of things we can do about our aches and our pains, and by changing the things that we put in our body and by changing where we are surrounded by, what are we breathing in? What are we eating? All these different things. And there's loads and loads more, but maybe the environment that we're currently in isn't what the body necessarily wants. And I guess the last thing is that as we relate this to this curiosity, it's really asking yourself, when you feel that pain, what is the body trying to communicate? Because if the body wants to survive, the body wants to thrive. It doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to decay. Maybe the pain's a signal. Maybe this stuff is really a hint from the body that something needs to be done, that there's work that needs to be done, that there's something that needs to change. Remember, the body doesn't want to be in pain. The body doesn't want you to continue to suffer. So this is a new idea that I'm trying to really install in my life, to not let pain overtake my perspective and my perception of myself, and to really just listen to the body and become more in tune with it. So I know this was a little bit of a deeper talk today, but I hope you got something out of it. And remember to value your health.